Dylan?
Søren, congratulations on the victory, man. A tough fought performance. Was that kind of what you were expecting against Bobby?
Yeah, so from what we've learned about Bobby before we went in here, and we like to come in prepared. Everything we see from Bobby Lee in his previous fights, and he's just tough as nails. He's like I said in one of my earlier interviews, he kind of reminds me of myself a few years back. So I believe he's got great things in his career future.
Yeah, and most of the fight obviously took place on the ground. You both had your moments, some submission attempts. Were you surprised at how durable he was there? Because working for some submissions, but obviously, he was able to survive there.
Yeah, so we kind of drew from my own experience cutting down a weight class when I fought for the Cage Warriors featherweight championships, and kind of went through how much more fatigued we were in that fight compared to when we cut for lightweight. So we figured he's coming from welterweight. He's probably going to feel some of the same things. And I don't know if he did, but at least to my experience, he didn't really slow down as much as we hoped for.
Was he really strong in there? I know coming down from welterweight, was he one of the stronger guys that you've dealt with?
Definitely. So my last fight against Terry, he's a way bigger guy. He looks like a proper welterweight when he fought in welterweight as well. Bobby, he looks more like a lightweight, and he's even a bit short, but he makes up for that in his wideness of shoulders. He was definitely very tough, and I'm not really. I'm used to being the lower of the guys I'm fighting, so I'm not used to having people be at a lower gravity point than myself. So that's also why we had some fun scrambles in the beginning.
Søren, Jaliki, you have like this huge following in Europe. You're like a cult following. You're hearing him because it's a little different. But Scott said today that he wants to go everywhere. Anyway, you say, hey, how about Denmark?
Yeah, that's definitely on my bucket list to get Bellator MMA back home to Copenhagen. And I know my good colleague from Denmark, Mads Bonnell, he's got a fight coming up there as well, I believe.
Yeah. So you're now 2-0 in Bellator. You got a sensational record. The division is wide open. I mean, but any chance you say, hey, 1-2 more fights and I'm fighting for the title?
I'm not gonna say no to that, but
is that the plan?
I'm also a big believer, coming from being the champion in one of the largest European organizations. You have to earn that spot. So I'm willing to go back in there and really earn my top 10 spot, because I know, my last fight, I thought it was impressive taking on the former double Bama champion and dominating him with an injury. But coming in here, taking Bobby Lee, coming down from welterweight, I don't know where that stacks up in the division. So I'm willing to go back here or take Bellator MMA back to Europe once more and really make my decision, make my place in the division.
My last question. A lot of grappling. You both had submission attempts. One point, he looked like he was working a rear naked choke. Was it close to being in at all?
Nah. So I understand why it would look that way. But if you really want to see a tight rear naked choke, go watch my fight against Paddy the Baddy in Cage Warriors. That was a tight rear naked.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, Søren. Kevin here from Fighter Path MMA.
Hey,
so when we interviewed you, you said that, the layoff from the knee injury back in Bellator London and, the COVID-19 hitting was, beneficial to you because no one got the jump ahead of you. So after this fight, when you were seeing, going against your opponent, did you see that, am I slacking behind my opponent, or am I on pace with him?
So, no, not really. It's been a while since most people could get back to normal training, at least professional MMA athletes. So it's more like the first quarter of 2020, where I really think that if there hasn't been Corona, then everybody would kind of step ahead of me. But because I was rehabilitating my knee and everybody else was in lockdown, it was kind of a stalemate. No worries.
All right, we'll take a couple more questions here. Dylan?
Hey there, Søren. I appreciate you making some time.
My pleasure.
I was just curious because there was the very robust Viking war cry after the fight there. Can you talk about the importance of the Viking lineage in the bloodline? Because he seemed pretty impassioned there.
Yeah. So, like when you get a nickname like mine, the True Viking, it's not something that you just take for yourself. It's something you earn. So the MMA club I started competing in, we called ourselves True Vikings, and the name was kind of a giveaway. So like I started MMA in that club when I was 15 years old. So the name coming from that, and it really make a big impact on me and how I ended up growing up.
Jay?
Congrats on the win tonight, Søren. And, looking at the lightweight division, you're not ranked because you weren't active since 2019. You probably will be after this and looking upward in the rankings. But have you thought about a time frame for your return? When do you want to get back in there?
So when we want to get back in there now, this was great. Coming back after 1.5 year layoffs, I think we've got to watch this tape back, see where we really are lacking behind. That's kind of something we always do after a fight. See what worked, what didn't work, what we need to fight on, and what we need to better ourselves in. And now, I haven't watched this fight back yet, but I believe there was quite a few places where I did stupid mistakes that I shouldn't have. So we're gonna evaluate that, and I believe early fall will be the earliest you'll see me back.
All right, thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, and the last question here comes from Jeff Brantley.
Jeff from the Man in the Cage podcast. Søren, with that layoff, you'll hear fighters sometimes talk about ring rust. Did you feel any of that tonight in round one or throughout the fight, or did you feel great from start to finish?
To be honest, I was like I do with my weight cut and everything, the experience leading up to fights, because there's so much of a mental game in it. I write down what I feel, what I weigh, what I eat, what I drink. So I have it all like laid out for me. I can see even now cutting weight for this fight. I was like, all right, I'm 78 kilos now. Looking back at the last fight, the same time period before the weigh-ins, I was the same. So I kind of draw strength from those notes, and I didn't really account any new feelings regarding ring rust coming into this fight. What I really did notice was the COVID restrictions, the mask, and like everything was just a little bit off from what I'm used to. And I pride myself on being mentally tough, but like we're as athletes under quite a lot of pressure and stress in these situations. So every little bit counts, and every small thing can throw you off just a little bit. So yeah, I didn't encounter ring rust, but I would say the differences due to the COVID restrictions was kind of throwing me off a bit.
All right, thanks for the time, Søren. Congrats on the win.
Thank you, sirs.